La bola se vuelve bota. Ábrame la puerta porque me voy. Adiós. Plákata.
Welcome everybody to Plakata Nation. Another episode. We're pumped up because the season is officially here. All teams are full throttle, getting ready to start. And of course, I'm joined here by mi primo querido, straight from the Bronx. Cuss Rod in the house. What's going on, my man?
Man, I'm excited, bro. I'm hyped. We're almost here. It's almost starting.
Dude, it's right there. It's right there. And of course, we have our baseball insider, man. How lucky are we to have Jesus Ortiz, all right, with us as well. Just letting us know what the nitty gritty is in Major League Baseball. What a great asset Jesus is. So we love having him as well. So this is a team. We're here. This is opening day for us as well. And guys, I really enjoy watching these young kids, or sometimes not so young kids, get the nod and saying, hey, you made the team. I mean, that is absolutely awesome. We've had a couple, several, that now with social media, you could see when the manager goes out there and just gives a nod to these young kids and to possibly even veterans that have been in the league, the minor leagues for a while, finally get an opportunity. It's great. I love those moments. We're going to share a couple with them with you. And guys, the one I want to start with is, let's check out Liam Hicks with the Marlins. I thought this was pretty cool. Check it out, guys. Awesome to watch.
Have a seat, Liam. All right. Going hard after catching last night?
Yeah, we're good. How do you think things have gone from you got here in January till now?
Oh, man.
I'd say they've gone well. I think it's been a good, steady increase in ability, learning. I think getting more comfortable. I think it's gone well.
Yeah, and you ripped it really nicely yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's getting more comfortable.
One of your better days, for sure. You think there's any more room for improvement?
I definitely think there's room for improvement.
Yeah, I think has your family ever been to Miami?
Oh,
Maybe my mom.
it hit him.
Yeah.
Right there is when you're like, what?
Right there.
What does this mean?
Huh?
Yeah, I think they would.
You did it, man.
Awesome.
Oh,
You made it,
wow.
man.
Thank
Wow.
You did it. Huh?
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, feels good.
It's great.
Yeah. Right there, he is withholding. He's doing everything he can not to just blow up and stay as stoic as possible. And of course, you sit there as a manager, you want to like build up the drama and build up the tension. It's the suspense, right? As a player, you're just sitting there. I'm like, what does that even mean? If there's room for improvement, does that mean that I'm going to get sent back down? Jesus, I'm going to get sent back down to the minors to continue to improve, or did I make the team? Like up to that point, he really doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't even know he's being recorded. So, I mean, these type of conversations are usually kind of positive, anyways, even when they send you down to the minor leagues. So you don't know what to expect. I mean, what do you guys feel about that? I mean, that's in a sense, I almost feel like it's a little cruel, you know?
Yeah, I think back to like a Spanish professor I had where he asked us like what grade we thought we should get. And I knew I didn't do A work, but I knew the subject and I tried to talk myself into an A. Like, yes, there's room to improvement, but I'm ready. I would have said, Skip, I'm ready. Like, how do you answer that? I'm sure in his mind going, oh, because when they tell you, yeah, because when they send you back, they always say, hey, these are some things we want you to work on. And I'm sure in his mind, he's like, oh man, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I would have been, my knees would have been buckling, man. I would have been sweating. My heart would have been going like, because I agree with you. The words that he was saying, I was like, oh man, I guess I'm going to get sent down. But then the minute, and you saw it, Carlos, the minute he said, as you finally been to Miami, that's when it was just like, okay. And he called up to the show. So, oh man, I'm happy for Liam, man. Congratulations to him and his family, because this is for the family too, as much as it is for the players, for the family. It's a large sense of pride. I obviously I remember when Carlos got the nod and got called up. It was a special moment for all of us because we knew all the work he put in to go. So to see, him make it, I can imagine, Liam and his family and his friends, they must be going crazy. So I'm so happy for him, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the fact that your dream is becoming true is absolutely amazing, right? And we've talked about this in the podcast in the past. You do not make it alone. So many people around you supporting you, helping you. So that's why you see these calls. The immediately you want to talk to your family, because you know that there's no way that perhaps with the special someone or special family around you or whoever it is, you just never do it alone. That is the truth. So I love to see how guys immediately, who's that first phone call? Who are you calling? And right here, let's take a look at JC Escarra from the Yankees when he got the nod, because this was very particular. I love to see it. I mean, I all of them are awesome, but this one was pretty special. Check this out right here.
¿De qué, mam? Acabo de hablar con Boone. Vamos para Nueva York.
Oh man.
Oh
Se
my
cumplió el
God.
sueño.
Wow.
You heard that right there?
That's a Latin mom right there. That yell, that tears, that's Latin. That's a Latin mom being happy for
That's
her little
it.
boy. That's beautiful, man. That is
And
He's
beautiful.
about to lose it too. Of
se
course.
cumplió el sueño. Se cumplió el sueño. That just like
Oh man.
that said is all right in English. Like
Yeah.
the dream has
Yeah.
been reached, accomplished. That was
Yeah.
so.
That is so awesome. That is awesome. You call your mother, you share those news with her after, all the sacrifice that was set forth, and all of a sudden you see the fruit of his labor, right? And the result of all that sacrifice. And look at him. He's certainly emotional about this. I love to see this. Look at that. She's going absolutely so joyful. And of course,
Yeah.
oh
Look at
man,
him. He's jumping. He's for joy. And Carlos, I don't know if you know his story. His story is very interesting. He was a Uber driver. He was a substitute teacher, I believe. Like, he had little jobs, odd and end jobs to kind of keep making some money and stuff. And look at that. I believe he's 29, and he had a heck of a spring, and impressed the team in such a positive way. I read things on Boone. Boone loved his attitude. The rest of the team loved his attitude and his makeup. And it just goes to show you that dreams, you may think that a dream is out of reach because of your age, and look at this guy. He made the team. He worked hard and impressed the right people and had the right attitude. It's what we've talked about in Plakata Nation here is, you have the right attitude, you prepare, and the results will show. And the results showed enough for him to have this beautiful moment where he called his mom and just give her the gift of all gifts.
it's about being resilient, right? It's about being resilient. I mean, especially for JC, like going through everything he went through, such a long time, where initially, like even from the beginning, even if you are the hottest prospect ever, right? The possibility of you making to the major leagues is so slim. You know this, Jesus. You cover baseball for a living. You've been doing this for a long time. You understand the difficulty. Even if you are a high touted prospect, you may never get the call to the big leagues. So now imagine now having to just spin your wheels, go back to the minor leagues. You're doing Uber, you're doing all other things because you're like, okay, maybe this is not going to work, but you kind of like stick around. You keep pressing forward. You keep going and going and going and going. And the quote of the day is going to have to do with that later on in the show. Man, you just have to tip your cap and really say, wow, being resilient and tenacious at the end of the day, pays off. And I love to see him get rewarded, right? Like it's almost like justice is done because it's served here. Like you're like, this is justice. Like after all that effort and staying through thick and thin, going after your dream, you finally get rewarded. I love to see it. And who do he shares it with? With his mom. That is awesome.
And it's also about, on the other extreme, taking advantage of the opportunities, which is what we saw in spring training with the Astros. Cam Smith was in college last year. It hasn't even been a year since he stopped playing college ball. Drafted by the Cubs, acquired by the Astros for in the Kyle Tucker trade. And that video, guys, and kudos to the Marlins and the Yankees creative teams, but the Astros video of Joe Espada breaking the news to Cam Smith, in my opinion, is the best I've ever seen.
This is
I
unbelievable.
don't know what you guys think.
No, this is unreal. Let's roll it.
I always said, like, if someone tells me, Joe, you're going to the big leagues, who will be the first person you will call? Who will be the first person you will call? I say my mom, my dad, my family, right? Because I think you want to share with someone who's been there for you from day one. Little league, travel ball, good days, bad days. So we're about to do that right now. So I'm going to make a phone call to someone, and that someone's going to come out here. It's got a special announcement to do, okay? Let's see if I can find this number. Hello? Are you here? Okay.
Oh, wow.
As soon as he saw his mom, it was over. Waterworks.
Forget it. Enough said. Now it's all heart, all feeling right here. I mean, this is so powerful right here. These are the people that have been there with him from the beginning. And that's why he can't contain himself.
Yeah.
And Cam Smith truly has been one of the best stories in all of spring training. He, he just hit. They were going to play him only at third base this spring. Then they started to realize, you know what? We may need his bat. And, oh, by the way, go play right field. And on Thursday, he's probably going to start opening day in right field for the Astros at 22 years old. And FSU kid, like West Palm Beach kid, like he had spring training right by his house. So I think his mom needs to move to Houston for a month just so he keeps getting that home cooking that he got in West Palm during spring training that obviously went very well for him.
I'll tell you what. Hey, have you seen this swing? I mean, Primo, it's a violent hack, and he looks so strong at the plate, and starts with the bat, kind of like just really relaxed in his hands with almost a straight up position, and then that thing just explodes through the zone. There's some great video that you can go check out if you guys have time. Please do so because it's just poetry in motion. It's so violent, but at the same time, so rhythmic. So really happy. I mean, this kid is so talented, and that is as genuine as it gets. That call to the big leagues. Wow, I would agree with you. I mean, Jesus, I don't know if I've seen anything better than that. That was your family walked inside the clubhouse to announce that you made it to the big leagues.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
We will be following these guys as the season starts, and we wishing them the best because they're good people, as you can see, and they work really hard to get to where they've gotten, and so we'll be following them all the way through. And one of the things that we'll say is like you see a guy like Smith, like him, young player, and I it got me thinking, who do we think is going to be the rookie of the year in the American League? And for that matter, we can even look at all and see if we can make predictions because I would love to hear from you guys who you think the rookie of the year is going to be.
There's a lot of good stories out there in terms of these young guys. Obviously, Cam Smith is a guy that's very impressive. I know you got the kid out in Detroit. Was it Job? Yeah, very impressive individual too. I'm staying local. I'm gonna go with the guy that has a lot of pressure and hype on him, and I hope for my team's sake he lives up to it. But I'm going with the Martian, Jason Dominguez. I think this kid, it's his. Jesus, you said it, my man. You said it's opportunity. What bigger opportunity right now? The team is, the Yankees they're not at full strength. They're hurt. A lot of people are writing them off. For even making the playoffs. So you know what? What better opportunity than say, hey, wait up a second. I'm here. You guys hype me up. Let me show you what I can do. And we've talked about it. We've seen flashes of this kid. He hasn't gotten a full opportunity to play a full season. I think this season he's going to have that opportunity. And I do think he is going to perform at a very, very high level to the tune of winning the AL Rookie of the Year. I got Jason Dominguez.
Nice. Jesus, I'm going to go with you. Who do you have?
Well, I was going to go Cam Smith and Jason Dominguez, but I love what I saw out of Jason Dominguez when he made his major league debut. I've been following this kid since he signed with the Yankees. I've talked to him at the Futures game. I think that kid has what it takes to be a star and a star in New York, which I think is completely different. You need a little bit extra thick skin on that one. But I'm going to go with Cam Smith just because I think the ballpark here, I think what he has shown in spring training and the nurturing environment to grow here, I'm going to go with him just because it's a long shot and it's not somebody everybody's talking about. And I think on the NL side, I'm going to go with Sasaki.
Yeah.
Way to go out on a limb there. Way to go out on a limb there.
I don't know.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
Both
man,
extremes,
I
right?
don't know.
I gave you Cam Smith, who's probably nobody's picking, and I give you Sasaki. So a little bit of both.
See, no. Yeah, of course. I got Sasaki as a Rookie of the Year in the National League, and I'm gonna, I just have a personal story. I've been to the Yankee Academy over there in the Dominican Republic, and El Marciano has, there's like a plaque of his on the wall over there in the academy. And obviously, there's been a lot of hype. Obviously, that he's extremely talented. No doubt about it. He's had some issues, some injuries, and now getting the opportunity, hopefully, to play every day. So I'm going to go with the Martian. Okay. Now I'll say this: when I saw that plaque, you would think, oh, what? He led the summer league in home runs. What? He led the summer league in hitting. What was it? It was an academic plaque, guys. I mean, this man worked, and I was there with some of the executives that ran the academy, and they told me that he was such a hard worker, dedicating himself to the academics because they run a really tight ship as far as that's concerned. The Yankee Academy over there in DR. Yes, they work hard out there on the field, but they have a beautiful salon of beautiful room of computers and a library, and they said that Rodriguez was the last one to leave the room. And there's that academic plaque where he received that distinction of best student, let's translate it. And I was like, man, okay. So he's not just like going out there, I'm just a great ball player. He also understands the importance of education. So I don't know. I was like, man, I liked him a lot as a ball player, but now I like him even more because he's definitely putting in the effort on all fronts. So I want to go with him. I think, yes, the talent, obvious, but I think there's a lot of depth in that kid, So I'm pulling for him. So I'm going to go with El Marciano to win the American League Rookie of the Year. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and move up to I'm going to leave the big suspense, big ones for later. Let's go with Manager of the Year. Manager of the Year.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I got one. I'm gonna just say it off quick. Carlos, when we were doing our rankings last week, and the brackets for who's gonna be in the playoffs, this guy's team, I wanted to give him the nod, but I just wasn't sure. I just didn't. There was something that held me back. But honestly, I think they're gonna be in for a fight the whole season. I'm going with one of the greatest managers of the last 30 years, and that is Tito Francona. Who's managing the Reds. I think this guy is gonna unlock the kid that we know as Ellie De La Cruz. He's gonna take Ellie to like another level. To listen, that could be a potential thing for later that we're gonna talk about. But I think Tito is going to be the NL MVP. I mean MVP. Jesus, I'm sorry, the NL Manager of the Year. I think he's the guy, man. He's everywhere he's gone, he's found success. He understands the game. He knows how to manage all these guys from different walks of life. But more importantly, they respect him. They play for him. And I think he's gonna do that. He's gonna do wonders for that Reds team. So I got him for the NL Manager of the Year.
And who do you have for the
For
American?
AL Manager of the Year? AL Manager of the Year, I'm gonna give it to wow, put me on the spot here.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you definitely do. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Alex Cora. I'm gonna give it to Alex Cora. I think Alex Cora is gonna. I picked them to win the AL East. I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. He's gonna just remind everybody, listen, y'all. You know, we won a World Series some years back. I have this young team, hungry, ready to fight, ready to play, ready to win. I think Alex Cora is gonna be the guy. I really, really do. He's a smart manager. He makes the in-game decisions. He makes the tough decisions, and I like him. I think he's the guy that's gonna get that award.
These are great picks, and as soon as I'll jump in right away. I mean, I agree with Terry Francona being the National League Manager of the Year. Guys, Tito was my manager when I was with the Red Sox briefly there, so I got a glimpse of how he works, and it was amazing the relationship that he was able to build with his players. So he's a players manager, 100%, extremely knowledgeable of the game of baseball. But I think the communication skills is really what sets him apart. The way he relates to players, man, players love playing for him, and I saw that firsthand. And then if I go to American League, I'm going to go with AJ Hinch, because AJ, man, he was so impressive last year in moving his pieces. Jesus, it was like he was playing a chess match every single day. And he, surprisingly, this is very difficult. We're talking about communicating with players. He has gotten every single player in the Tigers roster to buy in. So if I'm hitting third, hey, Rod, guess what? They bring in a tough lefty in the fifth. They're going to pinch hit for me, and I'm going to be perfectly happy and okay with that. In what world does that happen? Well, in AJ Hinch's world, that happens. He makes moves like no other. As a matter of fact, we're looking at Brian Kenny here at MLB Network, voted him, number one as far as strategic managers are concerned. So, I mean, I think the consensus is that he's one of the smartest managers in all of baseball. So I got AJ Hinch as AL Manager of the Year.
Well, it's great that you mentioned AJ because he's the one I was going to pick, and the reason I'm picking AJ over Alex is because usually when you're voting for that Manager of the Year, you consider the payrolls, you consider what they're working with, which is why David Roberts usually doesn't win, which is why like Aaron Boone doesn't win because they have big payrolls. But I think AJ Hinch, who I respect, who I got to cover here, I think the Tigers aren't considered the favorite, but I think he's going to push them to a way better season than people expect, just as he did last year. And then in the then in the National League, I'm going to go with Carlos Mendoza because I think the Mets, because of their pitching or shall we say lack of great pitching, they're going to be seen as somebody that's going to overachieve. And I think he's another guy who has guys buying in, and I think he's gonna get it. I mean, obviously you have to consider Schultz with the Padres, but he's not going to surprise anybody. Pat Murphy with the Brewers, I think, is a little bit like like what AJ Hinch is this year, like a guy who he won it last year, but because the expectations weren't quite what he accomplished.
Yeah, that would be awesome if the Mets. I mean, as you saw in my bracket, I had the Mets winning the World Series, and people are like, "What? How about the pitching?" I'm like, "Well, they'll figure something out." But we were trying to be bold, and I thought it would be an unbelievable story if the Mets actually win it, right?
Yeah, Mendoza's a really good pick. He was a guy that I had circled too. I just think that division is so hard, and as of right now, it's hard for me to give that team a major leg up because the pitching is so suspect with them. But Mendoza's a guy who was in the Yankees organization for such a long time, who was beloved in that organization, and he still is, and he's such a I mean, if you ever hear him speak, he's just such a gracious guy, like just so kind and respectful. He's one of those guys that you look at and you'd be like, man, I'd love that guy to manage my team. And I think that's a great pick, Jesus. He's awesome. I wish him the best. With this upcoming season because there's a lot of pressure on the Mets. There's an obscene amount of pressure on the Mets. Doesn't matter whether their pitching rotation is healthy or not. That they just made a major offseason purchase, so all eyes are literally on them. They're gonna have a bunch of national games, so they're gonna have to put up or shut up. So let's see what happens. But I think that's a good pick, though. I really do. That's something that I didn't really consider like that, but that's a good one.
Yeah, return on investment is going to be key for the Mets. And the people think like, oh, return on investment, like it takes a few years, like to get your investment back and whatever, and start making a profit. No. For the Mets in New York, it's now or never. Like it always is, isn't it? In New York, it always is.
Well, Steve Cohen's the owner. He knows that word. That's his stuff. His stuff is finance. He's about ROI.
Now.
I need this right now. I just gave one of my guys $765 million. You know what I mean? And we got the whole city is talking about us. They're talking about us more than the other team, which hasn't been done in a real long time. So you know what, man? It's how do we say? Carlos, hay que apretarse los pantalones. You gotta get ready.
Hay que meter mano, papá. There's no time to waste. And Cohen, knows it, and everybody in that clubhouse knows it, and Carlos knows it too.
Yeah.
So the pressure's certainly on, but these guys, man, they're professionals. They welcome it. Now, I know you want to talk about this when you're talking about Francona being the MVP, but yeah, I know you want to talk about this. That's why you were quick to pull the trigger. I want to hear your MVP picks, man.
All right. So I want to be bold. Listen, because guys, let's be 100% real. We know there's certain players that are like, okay, that's easy. So I'm not gonna go that route. I am going to be different. I'm going to be different. All right, you ready?
Go for it.
I'm being really bold, but I'm gonna do it, Carlos. I am picking Ellie De La Cruz for the NL MVP.
Wow! All right.
I have a great feeling for Ellie De La Cruz, man. I love that kid so much, man. Like I gotta say, baseball I think is in such a beautiful place. I think we have so many great stars on every team. It's been a while, but I think we're there. And Ellie De La Cruz to be that guy, to be in the team of Cincinnati Reds coming up, have the skill set that he has, the personality that he has, and now you got Terry Francona there, in his ear whispering. Terry Francona, who whispered into Manny's ear, into Big Papi's ear, into Jose Ramirez's ear, into Francisco Lindor's ear. He's going to Ellie's ear now, dude. I think Ellie is the NL MVP. I love it. I think, oh man, that moment when he gets that call that he's the MVP and they have it on MLB Network. Oh man, I'm gonna go crazy. I have him as my NL MVP. I definitely have him for my NL MVP. AL MVP. I'm just gonna go on quickly and say AL MVP. I was thinking Bobby Witt Jr. I do like Bobby Witt Jr. a lot. I think he's a really talented player. Came in second to Aaron Judge. But I'm going to be bold here. I'm not going to go for the obvious thing. AL MVP, I am going to go with, can't believe I'm going to say this. I am going to go with Jarren Duran from the Boston Red Sox.
Wow.
I think Jarren Duran
I like your picks, man.
I'm being bold, man. I'm being different. Being bold. Jarren Duran, who plays for my absolutely hated rival, but damn, that guy can play baseball, man. He He can
te-
play, dude.
And he'll let you know too. He's
Oh
rubbing it in
man.
your
Yeah,
face, Rod.
yeah, yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
what do you think, man? Am I going crazy? Jesus, what's
No,
going
no,
on,
no,
man?
no, no,
I,
no.
I,
Hey,
I,
they're bold, right, Jesus? They're bold.
I like
They're
that
bold.
pick. And hey, a Mexican American winning the AL MVP in Boston, it's happened before. It's a guy named Ted Williams won a, so, but I tell you what, I'm big on Duran. I picked them on both of my fantasy teams, and I picked them really high. And I thought, but I'm going to go with Jordan Alvarez because with him focusing just on DH as Altuve plays left field, I think he's going to stay healthy. And a healthy 155, 150 game Jordan Alvarez, he's going to put up some big time numbers. And in the National League, I'm going to go with Juan Soto. And the reason is I think he's obviously Juan Soto, but he's a big stage guy, led the Yankees to the World Series, and he's going to want to prove the contract right, which all the guys do. But some guys, they cave under that pressure. I've worked in New York. I've covered New York baseball as a beat writer. Some guys, they can't handle that. But Juan Soto, you have the fact that he's already starred for the Yankees, and it's going to be seamless. And I think Juan Soto is going to be the NL MVP.
All right.
What about you, Carlos? What you got?
Yeah, so I'm gonna mine might not be as bold as Rod's, and even yours right there, Jesus. I'm not saying that Juan Soto is a bold pick, but for the National League, if I am predicting, I'm gonna have to say Shohei Ohtani, just simply because he's gonna pitch and hit. And I'm gonna go after you, Jesus, man. I'm going after you here. Because honestly, like this is the thing. I'm picking Shohei Ohtani, but I'm picking him reluctantly in a sense because I think he's got a huge advantage because he's pretty much putting two different things in one, and it's almost impossible for him to get beaten if he does anything above average. His WAR number is going to be so elevated that no one's going to be able to compete if he's just a hitter, right? And you guys, the baseball writers, continue to vote on just flat out numbers, like on WAR numbers, right? That's why I always said, hey, man, we need another award. We need most outstanding player, and then we need MVP. That's going to be more subjective. Most outstanding player, sure. Go ahead, Jesus. Go ahead and vote for Shohei Ohtani, right? Even if he is on a losing team like he was with the Angels. But then vote for the MVP on a winning team, someone who actually made something happen, right?
Yeah,
But
and that's you're
tell
making
me
a great
because
point.
I put you in the
No, no,
spot. I'm complaining here. I'm complaining
no.
to you.
I agree with you. I agree with you that here's the problem, and I'll be quite frank with you. The nerds have become very angry. So like if you
The
so if you
return of
don't
the Nuggets.
if you don't vote for war, you'll get all these nerds calling you ignorant, saying you don't know about baseball. I remember when I first started voting for these awards over 20 years ago, I felt pretty safe because like I could tell you like if you didn't make the playoffs, I'm not going to vote for you for most value. Like what is value, right?
right,
I
right,
value
right.
championships. The city values championship. Whereas now we've had a generation, we had 10 full years, 15 perhaps, of nerd ball, where people don't value championships. People value war. And they tell you, oh, he had nothing to do with it. But I think Shohei Ohtani is a safe pick and people love it. But if you didn't make the playoffs, like how much value did you bring to your team? And the
Jesus,
argument was going to be, it's
My
just one of
point.
like, but
so true.
yeah, so I see both sides. Unfortunately, Carlos, you and I are part of a generation who values winning over war.
Right.
And so if a guy had the highest war on the worst team in baseball, like Mike Trout, like
Oh my God, thank
his
you, thank you.
his advocates are like the loudest, like, oh, he's the greatest. He hasn't won anything.
No.
You know, like
Yeah.
so.
Can I just throw this out here? I just want to say, and I know where Carlos is going because I said the same thing. Otani was awesome when he was at the Angels. The guy did things we've never seen before. But let's be 100% real. Vlad Guerrero should have won that MVP
He was
that
the
year.
MVP of that year.
He should have won the
He was.
MVP that year. You know what I'm saying? And last year, listen, 50-50, never been done before. But I'm sorry, dude. Francisco Lindor carried. He literally took the Mets, put them on his shoulders, and said, "I'm gonna take us to the freaking promised land, yo." Like, come on, man. Like, that's drama right there, man. Like, that's beautiful. Like, you know, like that to me is insane, and it's a beautiful story. Yeah, and again, it comes off, and it sucks because it comes off as like I'm like putting down what Otani does, and I'm not. Otani, we said it last week. Otani's one of these guys who's just he's the face of baseball. Everybody knows who he is. He's a superstar around the world. But I'm sorry, winning matters at the end of the day. And those years that he was with the Angels and Mike Trout again, they were getting MVPs hand over fist. And I'm like, but if you take Otani off that team, they're still in last place. It doesn't change anything. You take Trout off that team, they're still in last place. It doesn't change anything. You would have taken Vlad Guerrero off that team. They're not making the playoffs.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So
Correct.
I agree with you, Carlos. That there should be like some other type of award, you know, for that, you know.
Exactly, because you don't want to snub anybody. Like if you see like the outstanding performance of Shohei Ohtani, you still want to give him an award because very objectively, he was the best player in baseball, most outstanding player. There you go. But now we can be subjective. Let's see who the MVP is. And you love how I'm going to wrap this around because, hey, I don't expect the Blue Jays to win this season. But since, you know, we got the insight that there are some quote-unquote nerds, Jesus said that, who vote a certain way. Guess who my MVP is in the American League?
I knew it. I knew it before you said it, brother.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Mr.
with 100 last year, 160 plus WRC plus, like through the roof OPS plus, whatever it was, like it just pretty much exactly the same. It was the OPS plus that he had in when he should have won the MVP, right? When Ohtani won it, you know, a few years back, he had like a 160 OPS plus, right? Well, last year you're like, well, he hit 30 some home runs. He didn't hit 48 home runs. Guess what? His OPS plus, which is is a very good indicator of offensive performance, it was 160 above it. Yeah. So again, if he goes and does that again, there's no Shohei Ohtani in the American League. He's the MVP. Yeah. He's the MVP. Now, Juan Soto crushed it, yeah, and he had a even higher OPS plus than Vlad Guerrero Jr., but Juan Soto's in the National League now. So Vlad Guerrero Jr., MVP of the American League.
Hey, listen, he needs it. He needs this year. It's a contract year. So if there's ever a year for him to be MVP, it's this year. He wants to get paid. He wants to get paid. That's how you do it.
You want a drama? There it is.
I will say this. Shohei Ohtani is the mop, the most important player. What they accomplished in Japan and all that money that Major League Baseball made for pretty much because he was there. Like that dude is the most important player in the world in terms of baseball. Like he is. It's amazing. I like Major League Baseball broke so many records, and a hat tip to Major League Baseball for their very successful Tokyo series.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. 100%. Absolutely unbelievable.
100%, man.
Let's go. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the Cy Young Award winners, and I'm going to tell you mine really quick. I got to go with Eric School once again. I mean, I've been watching him spring training. He's absolutely nasty, and I just think the formula works. And until hitters learn how to just sit pitches, or let's not learn. I'm not going to use that word. Until hitters decide to just sit on pitches against Eric School, you're going to have a tough time. The only way you're going to hit him is if you sit on pitches. Like if you're like, I'm only swinging at this pitch, that's it. But if you're in between, like most of us try to do, because we think that we can adjust and like, I'll adjust. I'll see the ball and hit it. Tarek School was going to take you to school. So I got him as the Cy Young Award winner again. And this is not a surprise. Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens with the possible sub-1 ERA.
Listen, I'm going with Paul Skeens as well. I don't think he's gonna break Bob Gibson's 112.
Come on, Jesus. Join the party, man. I added Carlos to the party last week. Come on. The water's fine. Jump in. It's okay.
Major League Baseball hitters are too good. But I'm gonna go with a surprise pick. I love to make picks that if they don't happen, people will be like, okay, whatever. But if they do, people are like, man, Jesus pick. I love seeing Framber Valdez at his best. The dude is a man, and I'm gonna go with him winning the Cy Young and earning himself a big time contract at the end of this year. And the Astros lefty, I think the defense is tremendously better for the Houston Astros, which is a good sign for Framber Valdez. I think last year he was betrayed a little bit by the defense. And, like first base, Christian Walker, huge improvement, one of the best first basemen in defense first baseman in baseball. I think, Alex Bregman will be missed, obviously, but I think overall the Astros are going to be very good defensively, and that will benefit, and the question marks on the Astros defense are in the outfield, and that's not where Framber gets hurt. Framber pitches to contact, and when he gets beat, you're like, dang, they just missed that. They find holes, and I'm going with Framber Valdez, and I'm excited to look.
Like
right,
that.
That
and
sounds good. That sounds good.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Guys, look.
All right, so I'm National League. I'm going with Paul Skeens. I know it's the obvious pick, but man, I want to see that sub-1. I want to see it happen, bro. I have a good feeling.
You heard it here.
I have such a good feeling.
Look at this guy.
I'm gonna have to. Jesus, listen, we're gonna have to. All three of us are gonna have to have a watch party for the day that it happens, and I'm gonna tell Jesus, I told you so, man. You should have
that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome.
No, I know. You love the game, so you'd love to see it. I'm so just enthralled, and man, we saw him throw these new pitches into his arsenal, and I'm like, this is not fair. This is just not fair. Like, how do you? No. Again, it's like saying the guy that has the collection of Ferraris. Yeah, I'm gonna buy the other Ferrari. I'm still missing it in my collection of 25 Ferraris. So I'm going Paul Skeens, and now AL. I am gonna be bold, but it's not really bold. But it's kind of going to the theme of what I've been picking so far, and I'm going to the AL East. I am picking Garrett Crochet to win the AL Cy Young. I think Garrett Crochet is literally in a situation that is literally the opposite end of the spectrum from where he was. He was in the White Sox. He's in the Red Sox. He had no offense. He has a lot of offense. He had a subpar manager. He has a great manager. He's in a situation right now where it's all coming up aces for him. He's throwing down these cards. He's like playing Uno with just all wilds at this point. He has the stuff. Again, I'm picking him, and it's bold, but I'm picking him because I like what I see. I've learned a lot doing this podcast with Jesus. Jesus has thrown a lot of stuff towards me that's been, that's really cool. We just have to see if he's a guy that can handle that pressure of what it is to pitch in the AL East. It's very different from the AL Central when you're on a team that isn't very good, is expected to lose. Here, you're the ace. You're expected to come up big, but I have a good feeling. I think he's in a great situation. He's going to get run support. Let's be 100% real. He's going to get a lot of run support, and I think that does help a pitcher of his caliber. I'm being bold, but I'm just going to be different from everybody else in that aspect. I'm going to go Garrett Crochet, AL Cy Young.
Hey, if he was the AL Cy Young, you are going to be crying because that means that the Red Sox choose.
I picked them, but Jesus, I picked them. I picked them to win the division.
Yeah,
we just found out that mi primo es un masoquista. He's a masochist.
I am. I'm a masochist.
And Crochet.
I'm a masochist.
Oh my goodness.
You never know though. I might be doing this as a reverse jinx. You never know with me.
Exactly. See?
I might be doing this every
Exactly.
No. In
Exactly.
all honesty, though, I like my picks. Some of them are very bold, but I like chaos. As the Joker said in The Dark Knight, I'm an agent of chaos. Right now, my team is not in a great place. So you know what? I just want to have chaos all over the place. Let's see what happens. But you know, Jesus, like last week's episode, I said I picked the Red Sox to win the AL East. I figured that for them to win the AL East, they need a lot of these guys to come through. So in order for that to happen, you need these guys to be up there in these major awards. So I think he's that guy that can really really do it. And he's in the right place. He's at the right place at the right time. So let's see what happens.
To wrap the episode up, we wanted to offer the quote of the day. We're talking about these guys getting called up and being resilient throughout their careers, their lives, to make their dreams come true. The quote of the day comes from Napoleon Bonaparte, the great French war man, really conqueror. All right. Hey, victory belongs to the most persevering. Victory belongs to the most persevering. So let's think about what that means, guys. Like, it's not necessarily how talented you are or how strong you are. Sometimes people just outlast others. Winners just outlast losers. So you may have two guys that are extremely capable and they fight all the way to the end until one of them quits, but the other one does it. So if they just keep fighting, that's a tough guy to go out there and fight, right? So I love this quote because these stories, specifically when we look at J.C. Escara's story, and you see how long he had to persevere to actually finally make his dream come true. It's not a matter of talent there. It's not so much, can I throw hard? Can I run fast? Can I hit for power? Yeah, of course, you need all that. But he didn't quit. He kept coming. And his dream materialized, and he gets to share it with the people he loves. So perseverance, guys, tenacity. Just keep on coming. As a matter of fact, steady wins the race. Just keep it steady the whole way through, and don't quit whatever you do. As Napoleon Bonaparte says, right? Victory belongs to those who just go out there and are tenacious all the way to the end. And I just paraphrased it, but pretty much it's a lesson that we can take into the week and really apply it to our whole life. Sometimes things they don't happen right away for us, right? But what do? We just show up the next day and again and again and again and again, right? And then you're able to achieve. So I love that quote. And today's episode, we saw some examples of that.
Definitely, 100%.
That's a great quote. It's fitting for baseball, where you have to show up 162 times.
How about that?
Yeah,
baseball is a perfect example of being tenacious and resilient. So let's take that into this week, guys. I mean, and apply it to our lives. And we want to thank you all for being with us today. And we can't wait until the next episode where we're going to be talking about the beginning of the season. We can't wait to get this stuff started. You're like, okay, it started in Tokyo, but no, here's another beginning. Right? Another beginning. This is the real beginning. That's it. After this, you don't get any more beginnings. Okay, Jesus? So we got our New Year's resolution, our new season resolution. This is the last chance, brother. This is it.
Thank you very much. This was great. Thank you, guys. I hope you guys have a great week.
This was awesome, man. I definitely enjoyed it. Let's go. Plakata. We out, baby.
Plakata. Let's go.
Plakata.